Hello Groveland Township. Today's video is a review of 2013 and a look at some of the plans for 2014. Unfortunately, most of the information is pretty positive. For those of you who may recall, we started seeing the property values slightly turn around in 2011 and they continued in 2012. And in 2012 we had the new commercial construction for the River Rock facility on Dixie Highway south of Grange Hall Road. In 2013, we've now got on the tax rolls the Consumer Power Service Center. This is a facility that was built to accommodate the folks that were originally in the Pontiac office and the Lapeer office into the new Groveland office, and we're thrilled that consumers made such a sizable investment in our community, and it helps our property tax values in the industrial or commercial base, if you will. So those are both good things, and for the first time now in about 5 years we actually had some new homes built in Groveland Township, 4 of them this year. Prior to the big economic downturn, we used to see 25 to 30 homes a year, and then for about 4 or 5 years there were none at all. So this year, in 2013, we finally had 4 brand new homes, and that's a good indicator. What we've seen is that most of the property values have continued to go up, and because we are all under Prop A, that means that our property taxes actually only get increased by the cost of living factor that they come up with every year. And it's been very low for the last 2 years. And it's anticipated to be very low for this next year. But all of that said, we have looked at nice increases in the homes themselves. Frequently we see home sales that are going through in our township now that have sold for anywhere from $10,000 to $80,000 more than their market appraisal on the tax rolls. So this is a good indication that the economy is beginning to recover, and like you've all heard on the news in the evening, it's not a rocket sled ride up, but it's been a nice steady progress in the right direction for several years now. Another information that's going to be of interest to some of you, if you financed the natural gas project on your home originally, you had the bill put on your winter tax bill from the township. 2013 is the last winter tax bill, so there won't be any after this year. 2014, the gas line will be completely paid off, and the part of the bill that's for the gas project on your winter tax bill will be zero going forward. So these are all nice little things coming down the pipe for us to look forward into 2014. The one negative that we need to mention here again is many of you saw in articles that were done in the local Citizen newspaper, and it was also followed up by a letter from the Township Board to each of you telling you that because of some changes in the school finance laws, we're going to see a rather sizable increase in our property taxes if we live in the Brandon School District. And that's about 53 or 4% of the township. I'm one of them. What's going to happen is the bond issue that was done in the early 2000s for the construction of the sports complex and other improvements at the school is now got to be paid off in a much shorter time period, because as the property tax values dropped, the money to make the payments was not there, and they've actually had to borrow about $4 million every year to make the payments. This has extended the time frame that it would normally take to pay that bond issue off, and the state had estimated it at about 72 years. They passed a law that said you can't go that long anymore to pay off your school bonds, so they have been forced to raise our school millage from 8 1/4 mils if you're in the Brandon School District only to 13 mils. And this means if you have a house that's got a market value of about $200,000 and your state equalized taxable value is $100,000 or less, you would pay about $475 a year more in property taxes for the schools than you're currently paying now, and that's going to go on for quite a few years. It's in an effort to try and get it paid off before the original state estimate of 72 years. So I know it's not good news, but we wanted to make sure everybody was aware of it, because if your taxes are in your house payment, you may want to contact your bank and see if you want to make an adjustment to your escrow account. For those of you that were paying on the gas line, when that drops off and the school increase kicks in, the increased net won't be quite as bad for you. Some of the other things that have happened, we have sold a portion of the acreage of the township property at I-75 and Grange Hall Road, about just under 42 acres, to Mr. Barry Bass and Bedrock Express, who's been doing the reclamation on the site. Barry is going to be building a brand new recycling center on that 42 acres, and we hope to have that up in calendar 2014. And this is going to do a couple of things for us. One, it's going to provide some new recycling opportunities for our residents and people in the area. This is going to be recycling primarily building materials, so that when they take down a house or a building, things like the steel will get recycled to a steel supplier. The asphalt shingles will get ground up and sent off to an asphalt plant. The concrete gets ground up into wrap material that they use on roads, and the wood will probably get ground into more mulch and bark that you've seen over at the operation already. Barry's anticipation is that about 95 to 97% of all the material that comes into the recycling center actually ends up getting reused, and the small amount that's left will get taken off to a landfill. In addition to that, it's going to provide a new permanent home for the dumpster service, which many of us use in this township when we're cleaning out a garage or a barn. It's going to move down to his recycling center, which will be at the end of Shields Road off of Dixie Highway. In addition, he's going to expand the recycling service and allow for some other items to come in there, like fluorescent bulbs and cardboard and plastics and things of that nature. So for our community, and I think the whole surrounding area, this recycling effort will probably be the best in class in this general area and allow us some new opportunities and a way to perpetuate our dumpster service, which everybody seems to love using year-round to clean out the proverbial garage and barn project. All of those are really good news for the township, I think, and the residents, except for the school millage one, unfortunately. And another item that you need to be aware of is in our 2013 financial report to the state, it now states that we have paid off all of our unfunded obligations. That means that Groveland Township has zero outside debt. The fire trucks have been paid off to the bank. The pension obligations are slightly over 100% funded, and the OPEB obligations that you always hear about on the TV, things like retirement health care and what have you, are also all funded. And so I'm not aware of too many communities around, frankly, that can say they have 100% funding, but Groveland Township is now 100% debt-free to the outside world. We don't owe anybody outside of the organization a penny. The next thing I wanted to talk about is information that we received recently that the ISO, the Insurance Services Organization, which is the group that really rates fire departments around the country and was instrumental in getting us our ISO 4 that the fire department worked so hard to achieve for us, has come up with a new set of rules that took effect the beginning of this year. And they've stated that one of their goals is to reevaluate every fire department in the country in the next 5 years. We've taken a good look with some consultants at these new evaluation criteria, and I'll be honest with you, it looks to me like they're trying to make it a bit more stringent to get a good rating from the ISO, and the intent may be to actually try and bump everybody's ISO rating down a peg or two. We're not sure. But our chief has taken steps to take a look at what these new changes are and try and see what we can do to make sure we try and meet them, so that hopefully we will be able to maintain our ISO 4 rating. But there is going to be a review sometime within the next 5 years. They don't tell us when. That's the only other thing that probably has some question going into the future, what the impact might be. But Chief McGee and his team will continue to keep an eye on that and look at those changes and implement what changes we need to try and maintain our current outstanding ISO 4 rating. So in short, if I were to summarize the year, I'd say, like you've heard on the news, things seem to be steadily and progressively getting a little bit better. We've all seen the stock market go up. We've seen noticeable increases in the property values out here. Prop A has kept most of the tax increase very low because of the low inflation index. And things are looking pretty good. If you have the gas line project, it's going to be paid off after this year. You won't have to worry about it going forward. There's the potential that we're going to all see an increase in the school taxes if you're in the Brandon School District. Going forward, we have a couple of other things besides the new recycling center and perpetuating our ability to have the dumpster service we all use. We want to thank Barry Bass and Bedrock Express especially for taking the time to invest in our community and buy the property and make this investment and provide those services to our residents. Further going forward, we do tend to, or plan to be looking at some of the balance of the property that we have at the gravel pit and look at a couple of new applications. Once the recycling center is up and done and we move the wood chips down into the pit, we're going to take the berm that's on Grange Hall Road and remove that and get that property ready for development. And we do have a couple of projects that we're starting to look at that we think may have good application for the balance of our property. But it's a little bit premature to tell you if it's going to work out or not. So until we get a little farther down the road, we want to wait and see if we can materialize a couple of these and if they'll work well for our community. So pretty much that's it for the township, folks. We've had pretty good, solid, steady growth in 2013. Things look pretty good going into 2014, and we expect the COLA adjustment on the property taxes to again be very low. We think things are going in the right direction. We've sold a portion of the township property and are going to actively be trying to promote additional pieces of the property as the mining winds down on our part of the property. For those of you that have lived here for a while, we hope you're enjoying the community and like the way it's going. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to call or comment to us. We always like to hear from the residents and from myself, the entire township board, and the staff of everybody here that keeps the township running. We want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a happy and a safe New Year. So until the next video, Groveland, have a great day and enjoy the holidays. Thank you.